The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on February 21st, 2023.
It's time now for Business Matters Radio, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines, with your host, Pam Tumpop. Good morning, Pam.
Hey, Gary, aloha, and good morning. Thank you so much for always being here with us to make this show happen. I'm Pamela Tumpop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, welcoming everybody this morning to Business Matters. It's going to be a fun and exciting morning, as always. Today we're going to hear from Sheryl Matsuoka, who's going to give us an update on the restaurant industry. We're going to talk about an upcoming chamber event, Business Mix, which is an exciting event that's coming up in March. We're going to talk about some other legislative activities, and then we're going to hear from one of our chamber members who is with Island Glass Hawai'i. But let's start this morning talking about the restaurant industry. We are pleased to have Sheryl Matsuoka return to the show. She is the executive director of the Hawaii Restaurant Association. Sheryl is local, graduated from Kalani High School, happily married, mother of one, has had an amazing professional background, including the National Utility Contractors, Honolulu Executives Association, Hawaii Jewelers Association, and Toshiba Business Solutions before joining the Hawaii Restaurant Association. Good morning, Sheryl. So great to have you on with us this morning.
Good morning, Pam. So happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, it's our great pleasure. Thank you for all that you are doing to support our restaurants. We have gotten to connect many times during COVID, and you are such a staunch champion for the Hawaii Restaurant Association, and we thank you for your tremendous work. One of the big things that we are hearing a lot about, both on the state and county level, is officials are looking for ways to continue practices that the restaurants were afforded with emergency proclamations during COVID, like dining outdoors and delivery and takeout of alcohol and some other things that really helped shore up the restaurant industry during those very challenging times, but also showed us new ways that that the restaurants can legitimately operate that help sustain their industry. Can you talk about some of the measures that you see, both, I don't know if some of them are different from county to county, but what you're seeing across the state, how the Restaurant Association is helping, and what are some ways that we can help locally to shore up our restaurants?
Yes, Pam, you're right. Every county has different guidelines. Exactly how it was during COVID, as you know. Each county had different COVID restrictions. So specifically on Maui, we really are hoping what's going to happen is at the end of December 31st of this year, the authorization to have outdoor dining on the shoreline setback ends. So we're really hoping that the Maui Planning Commission, and it's called the Proposed Amendments of SMA, the Special Management Area and Shoreline Rules, will be approved. And what that definitely means is, restaurants that just need a little bit more space, a little bit more dining areas, that space, even though it may be just a few more outdoor tables, is such a huge impact. I'm going to use an example of one restaurant that was able to generate more revenue, 32%, and now employs more people due to that space allotment, which is now outdoors. And as you know, we live in Hawaii, right? I mean, just being outdoors in the fresh Hawaiian air makes the whole difference. So we're asking the Maui Planning Commission to please approve it so that they can go do something similar to Oahu, which is a temporary outdoor dining permit.
Absolutely, and we're very supportive of that. Unfortunately for us, one of the things that happened with that particular rule helping the restaurant industry is it got mired in a bunch of other rules that they were looking at for Shoreline and SMA that dealt with a managed retreat. But we are very supportive of this rule, and we continue to be supportive of this rule and share that while we have other thoughts on some of the other things on managed retreat, it will be coming up at the Planning Commission's meeting in March. And so we encourage everybody that we want to see the support for the restaurant industry in this move forward. We're also working on other efforts to better educate the public and broader community on many of the other rules that the Commission will be taking up on the shoreline management and SMA rules that people need to understand, especially if you have a business or a home along the ocean. These rules are coming up very quickly, and we haven't really discussed some of the mitigation measures. So we also, though, want to support, we want to educate the public and inform the public so that they're aware and can ring in on the broader things that are dealing with the importance of what's happening with erosion control and managed retreat. What we do want everybody, we want people to express their concerns and share issues there. The Planning Commission can take up pieces and parts. And an important piece and part that we do want to make sure that they move forward with is allowing the restaurants more space. The outdoor dining was critical. And we're still hearing, and I don't know, Sheryl, statewide, tell me a little bit if you're hearing about this. We're still hearing that, we're all learning to live with COVID. We're learning more and more these days about how long, after having COVID that you should be protected. Another saying 10 months, but, we're learning this is the new norm. But we're still hearing some people want more space in the restaurants just to be more safe, not just with COVID, but the flu. They're really appreciating that extra space that sort of came as a result of COVID, but now wanting to see it continue.
Absolutely, especially if the restaurant did not have an outdoor area. They were able to during COVID, and we want to thank, our mayor that they were able to extend their dining rooms outdoor. And we really found that, by making the outdoor area comfortable, many of the restaurants, put down AstroTurf and put up little planters and umbrellas and lighting, and that's all expensive.
Right.
And when they put movable planters, additional tables, additional chairs, now it became a beautiful, safe outdoor area that people would not be nervous about, whether it's a COVID or a virus, that they can enjoy our wonderful Hawaiian weather. And, just allowing that couple extra tables out in the outdoors, whether it's in a parking area or whether it's a side of the building, it creates so much more income for that restaurant, who then can support the local farms like Kuamomona and local fishermen like Uncle Clinton and local bakeries like Lahaina Bakery. And there's countless others that restaurants provide more income to, and those businesses like the farms and the fishermen and the bakeries rely on the restaurant doors staying open. Right now, you're right. We are still dealing with all of the other effects recovering from the pandemic. We still have challenges, due to inflation, supply chain issues, just recently the avian flu and the cost of eggs, cost of utilities, and increased labor costs. And not even talking about the labor shortage, Pam.
Right.
That's just been a very huge challenge for our restaurants, just keeping staff, and ensuring that each of our patrons' visits to our food eateries are always the best experience, just keeping that all going.
It is important. We're still seeing signs at the restaurant, with limited hours and, again, staffing challenges. So, and worker shortage, as you point out, oh my gosh, I'm sure you talk about that every day. We definitely at the Chamber talk about worker shortages every day, and still are wondering, where did everybody go? When are they coming back?
And we want to thank the community. The community has supported the restaurants by, taking out or dining in, because for every dollar that's spent in a Hawaii restaurant, it's $1.88 to the state economy for every dollar, and for every additional million, it generates 18.3 plus jobs in our state. And so, keeping the food service industry strong, it really behooves our whole state.
That is amazing, Sheryl. Say those statistics again. I want to make sure that everybody got to hear them.
Yeah. The Hawaii Restaurant Association represents over 4,000 restaurants, eating places, eateries, and drinking places. And we bring in $5.5 billion per year in revenue. For every dollar spent, for every dollar that's spent in a local Hawaii restaurant, it contributes $1.88 to the state economy. That's how important restaurants are to our state. So, if the Maui Planning Commission is allowing us to allow the continuation of the outdoor dining, this will then help generate the income to provide more revenue to our bakeries, fisheries, and farmers.
Absolutely. And we know that restaurants still need additional relief. Can you talk about some of the programs that are being pursued to help shore up our restaurants while we're still dealing with some of these many challenges? And again, you've done such a great job of sharing that how supporting the restaurant industry really helps many industries across not just Maui but throughout the state of Hawaii. But how can we get them additional relief, and what are some of the things that are being talked about or pursued currently?
Well, as we just talked about our employee shortage, one of the bills, SB 801 SD1, and what it is establishes a qualified internship income tax credit for employers of qualified interns. And that's going to begin in January 2024. This is what the bill is suggesting. And by encouraging businesses to provide our students with internship opportunities to advance their knowledge, this will prepare our students for a better career after they graduate from high school. And it prepares them to enter the mainstream workforce. And this incentive is really going to help the businesses, because there is a cost associated with businesses taking on interns in training and teaching and mentoring. And so this bill will then assist the restaurants in encouraging them to take this credit as an investment for our future workforce.
It is really a phenomenal bill. We have rung in support of this bill. One of the things is in the bill, it was a little prescriptive at a certain point of when the students couldn't work, and I thought, boy, it would really be better if we let the interns and the business work that out, because they may want to work during those times. But I will say this as someone who was a server when I was 18. If you've never worked in the restaurant industry, it's a great industry to teach young people many different lessons. Certainly, of course, customer service is paramount, but you learn so much. You get to see the front end of the house, the back end of the house, how the food is made. You learn about all sorts of things related to food and dietary restrictions and how to educate and inform people, how to promote products. If you're a waitress or waiter, there's just so many different things that you get. People don't realize that. Basically, when we're working with our servers and they're promoting the specials, they're marketing experts. They're talking to us about the new products of the day, and that changes frequently. So there's so many things that you learn that really apply in many fields, and well beyond working in a restaurant.
Exactly. It teaches teamwork.
Absolutely,
right?
Yes.
And Pam, how to communicate with your team members, how to, provide, like you mentioned, the great customer service and be a representation of a business. If anybody wants to learn how to run a small business, it's working in a food service establishment, an eatery, because you learn so many skills about inventory control and wastage and teamwork, communication skills. All of those skills are so valuable as we want to train our students because this is going to help us in the future, ensure that we have a workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. I will also say it makes you a better tipper when you understand. I'm a great tipper.
Yes, so am I. And how hard people in the food service industry does work. They do work long hours and what it takes to keep a restaurant going. As you know, the margins in many of our eateries, the margins are so small. So why it's so important to ensure that every patron that comes through your door has that wonderful experience and they come back.
Yes. Yeah. It's really important. And to give patrons what they're asking for. And we are finding, again, that patrons are asking, we're actually, I think, given the worker shortage, I think we're seeing our patrons and just community being more supportive of restaurants, understanding the challenges they're facing and the difficulty in delivering a high level of customer service when you're having worker shortages. But I'm glad that you brought up the margins and the wastage too, because not only do the students learn from that, but it's a tough industry. It's a real tough industry to work in, and so it's really important that we remind people things are happening within the industry. We need to continue to be patient as the restaurants are working really hard with fewer workers to serve us and keep the quality up, and we're seeing that. They're doing an amazing job keeping the quality up and getting food out as fast as they can, and knowing, that our patrons from COVID still want those expanded spaces. It's something they're asking for, too. In addition to the restaurants who, those few extra tables gives them more turns a night, and it allows them, as Sheryl said, to make more income. So, there's so much that we can do right now to help the restaurant industry. And SB 801 is really a tax credit. It's an income tax credit for a qualified internship program. There are some things that you must meet to receive this tax credit, but it's for all businesses right now. This is available to all industries, and it's a great program statewide to really help our business community. So we want to make sure that we alert chamber members. I know you're alerting your members about legislative updates. It's a great bill to look up and support.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Pam, for putting that out there, because we do need more businesses. And as Pam mentioned, it's not only the food service industry, but it's all industries. And everybody is looking for, employees at this time. So thank you, Pam.
No, thank you, and you're right. And the other thing is, folks, one of the best ways to check out employees is an internship program. So this is a great way for you to offer some work experience and have a wonderful internship program, but recruit in-house to find out those who you see being a great fit for your organization. And as Sheryl mentioned, the importance of their not only having the experience, but for them a career path. They've gotten some training, so through the internship, if they see this is something they really want to pursue, they've got a great career path laid before them that they can benefit from. So it's a great program that I hope the bill moves forward. It is moving forward, so we'll keep watching it, but we're still early in the session. But I think what we're finding is a lot of support for business initiatives that provide businesses with relief, recognizing that we're still in a recovery mode.
Absolutely, and remembering that when a student is employed as an intern, it's a great opportunity for them to grow maturity-wise, experience, learn about business, whether it's financial inventory control and looking at a business as a whole. What a great opportunity for a student.
It really is. Sheryl, is there anything else that you'd like to share about the association and your plans for this year?
Yes. I just really want to thank the community for supporting our local restaurants. It's the community that really got us through COVID. As you know, at that time, we had no tourism. The tourism numbers were not there. If it wasn't for the community, visiting the restaurants and supporting them by even taking out something, those restaurants would not be here today. So thank you to the community. We're not out of the danger zone yet, as you know, with all the rising costs. Many of our restaurants are trying to keep the menu prices down. They don't want to raise their menu prices, and I get calls every day from restaurateurs that say, with the rising cost of fuel, with the rising cost of products and protein and supplies and the eggs and everything else, they're forced to raise their prices a little bit because, as I mentioned, margins in a restaurant are so small. So they raise it a little bit, hoping that, patrons will keep coming back and understand that they don't want to raise the prices, but they need to raise it slightly so they can stay in business.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad that you brought that up and reiterated that, because nobody in business, nobody wants to raise the prices, especially when they know that everybody's experiencing hardship. But unfortunately, just in life, as costs go up, they have to raise those prices. Otherwise, if you're not making it's very slim margins, particularly in this line of business. And, if you're not making a profit, sometimes people make profit a bad word, but if you're not earning money, you can't bring on more employees. You can't cover your expenses. And they've seen extreme hardships during COVID for being shut down for so many periods of time, for that huge reduction in the number of people they could serve, and high overhead costs. Restaurant spaces are expensive to maintain, so there's some high overhead costs. So nobody wants to raise prices, but I think, I'm feeling very blessed, Sheryl. I feel like our community is understanding that, and I think it helps for those who maybe aren't understanding it. I think you being on today helps them see things in a different way, and kind of reinforces that, makes them go, okay, there's a point I didn't consider. But like you said, the community really supported the industry overall and continues to support it. And we know how hard the restaurants are working to meet our local need, and we thank them for all that they're doing. And thank you for all that you do to remind us of all the benefits of the restaurant industry and the Hawaii Restaurant Association, and the great return on investment that our state gets through this industry. And we appreciate everything that you do.
Oh, thank you, Pam. And I really appreciate you and this show and allowing us to come on and thank the community for their support, because it was the community that got us through COVID. So now we just need to continue that support, and we appreciate anyone who comes in and supports our local eateries.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to have you on, and we will have you on again. We appreciate your updates, and just look forward to working with you this session, and always to support legislation that helps all of our businesses and our statewide community.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again.
Me too. You have a wonderful day.
Okay. Aloha.
Thank you, Sheryl. Aloha. We're going to take a quick message to hear from our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines, and be right back.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
We're back. I wanted to share a little bit about BizMix Maui. BizMix Maui is coming up on March 4th. That is a Saturday at the Grand Wailea Maui. It will be held in the Courtyard and Grand Ballroom. It is going to be a spectacular indoor-outdoor dining experience, and Alaska Airlines is our elite sponsor. They're pleased to present this year's BizMix Maui event. It's going to be a night of fabulous fun. Let me just tell you, it starts at 6 p.m. We're going to have cocktails and a silent auction. We will have a multi-course dining experience from 7 to 9 p.m., including specialty cocktails, divine desserts, and then a exclusive after party from 9 to 11. So it's going to be a great evening where you can really network with community leaders. And what we're finding lately is, especially after COVID, when we're bringing events back and we're engaging people that are not chamber members, and you don't have to be a chamber member to come to this fabulous event. What we're finding is newcomers are joining us for different events, as well as chamber members who, just haven't been to big events for a while, and they keep saying, oh my gosh, I've got to meet so many amazing contacts. I was able to get so many, things moving forward in my business. I was able to make a great new friend and find somebody that loves golfing or loves sailing and doing things that I really enjoy doing. And what we're just seeing is sort of this great, we always talk at the Chamber about networking, but we're seeing this sort of great renaissance that's happening with people reconnecting. And reconnecting through the chamber in a way that is just changing their lives. I don't know. We've always said how important it is to network. We've always had, business after hours that we do on a regular basis to create this forum for opportunities to emerge and for people to build relationships. But this is one of those big ones. And so if you're not familiar with the Chamber and you want to join us, you can join us as a sponsor or you can buy tickets. Tickets are $250. We've got the chefs at the Grand Wailea and the bartenders creating specialty food and drinks for us. And we want to let everybody know it's like beyond dinner and a show. This is an entertainment experience with minglers and activities that are going to be surrounding you throughout the evening. So you want to bring your camera. You want to have a lot of fun. It's also a great team-building opportunity, so bring your teams. If you haven't had some of the holiday parties or the things that you've wanted to have to kind of connect with your team, BizMix Maui on March 4th gives you an opportunity to really connect your salespeople, your marketing managers, your frontline team, your back-of-the-house team with a bunch of business leaders that can share experiences, their workers. You're going to have a great opportunity to meet a lot of people and share your business story with others, as well as make great friends. So we hope you'll join us. BizMix Maui, March 4th. You can find us at mauichamber.com or call 808-244-0081. So now I want to talk a little bit about some of the bills that we're continuing to watch and just keep people abreast of things that are upcoming. And one of the key things we've talked about is, of course, access tier. We are really looking at access tier as not just a problem that we're trying to solve, but a sustainable solution, and how we can look at this both from a food production standpoint and manufacturing of different products. And, of course, working with diverse manufacturers across the state through our annual Made in Maui County Festival and other manufacturing programs that we do, we can see many opportunities. Entrepreneurs always have new opportunities for taking products. I mean, we've already had people from Lanai, so deer-skinned handbags, and look at how they can use that. We know the horns can be used for dog treats. And the meat, of course, we all know the value of amazing venison and how that can be used. So we've been looking at several bills that are really important in this arena. One of the bills, House Bill, and I know some of you, if you're familiar, I just say it again for those who don't. House Bill starts with HB. So House Bill 606, which means it originated in the House, was introduced by Representative Gates, and it requires the Department of Agriculture, in collaborations with other state agencies, to develop and implement a plan to expand the deer meat processing capacity in the state to allow for meat from access deer and other wild game to be processed for distribution by nonprofit food distribution services, for nonprofit food distribution services. The bill was referred to the House Agricultural Committee and the House Finance Committee. So it passed the House Agricultural Committee last week, and we'll move on to the Finance Committee next. This is a really important bill. And so the reason it's important is, first of all, wild game has to be treated differently than other meat. So it requires a lot of work to process wild game meat. And, of course, we're focused on excess deer, but we also understand that, we want to allow for other wild game to be processed as well, and so wild pig and some other things that can be processed as well. So we're looking at this holistically, and there's another bill that, while it's not officially listed as a companion bill, sometimes a bill in the House also has what we call a companion bill in the Senate, which means it's pretty much the same language. It's just two vehicles to get a bill through. There is another bill that's very similar. That's Senate Bill SB 1486, and it has similar language to HB 606, and it's coming up for its final hearing in the Senate Ways and Means Committee on Wednesday morning. That would be tomorrow morning. So bills move quickly at the state legislature. So you can ring in. If you're interested in ringing in on these bills, you can just if you just Google Hawaii State Capitol, it'll take you to the Capitol website, and you can see, you can look things up by the numbers that I'm giving you. You can look things up by just typing in access deer bills. There's so many different ways that you could research this. But you can give testimony either by sending it in. It'll walk you through. You can do a quick sign-up. And it'll allow you to register to give testimony, and you can either send it in, or say you want to be live, which would allow you to either testify if you go there in person, or would allow you to testify via Zoom. So just if you go to Capitol, and that would be capitol.hawaii.gov, and click register at the top right corner, you'll create a quick profile. It doesn't take long at all. Once you have your profile, you can click the My Legislature button to submit testimonies on bills and track measures and more. So it'll give you opportunities to then flag you when these bills are being heard in the future. So I wanted to make you aware of that. There is another bill, House Bill 1266. This bill was introduced by Representative Gates and allows for wild game to be donated as food. In this instance, it amends a law to specifically exempt liability for the donor of wild game. Okay, this is really important. Many other states have adopted laws like this. And as long as the donor is providing, in good faith, that they believe the food is fit for human consumption. We're not saying somebody, mishandled, tainted meat and then tries to donate it. Nobody wants to do that. Okay, but we've had a strong Department of Health, and they've been doing a great job on protecting folks, and we appreciate the Department of Health rules and regulations. But there are many ways that we have found that we can open up more donation of venison and other meat by changing this law that other states have already done, because they recognize that people aren't trying to, if you're trying to give a donation, you're trying to do it with the goodness of your heart, and you're taking care of the meat to make sure that you can, properly refrigerate it and get it donated. But many hunters are saying to us, we have so much meat in our freezer, we've helped all of our family and friends, that we'd hunt more if we could donate the meat, but we just don't have the capacity. And organizations, and I sit on the board of Feed My Sheep, who feeds the hungry across Maui Island for a week. They give families food for a week, nutritious food for a week, and they serve every week. Feed My Sheep has been ready to take in donated venison for about a decade. We've been working on this, knowing this was going to come up at some point, and has the freezer capacity to do that, and will help get that venison to other nonprofits as well. So it's important that we change the liability on this, and this bill is great because this line is added to other food donation liability exemptions, like the donation of perishable or non-perishable food and farm produce. So it goes beyond just venison donation to also say, look, if you're distributing food in good faith, and taking care of it, we're going to waive liability issues for you. So HB 1266 was referred to the House Agriculture and Health and Homeless Committees for joint hearing and the House Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. It was heard in the Joint Committee last week, where it was passed with amendments and will move forward to the final committee on the House side, Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. So we're excited that bill's moving forward. There was also another bill I'd like to share with you, and there's many. I'm not going to get to everything on my list today, but we'll just talk about those that we have time for, and we'll keep doing these updates. But another bill is Senate Bill SB 99. This bill was introduced by Senator Inouye and requires the Department of Agriculture to establish, implement, and administer a meat and poultry inspection program, as well as appropriate funds. So this bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Environment and the Senate Committee on Ways and Means. It was heard by the first committee earlier this month and will move on to Ways and Means next. So this is also important because the state of Hawaii does not currently have a meat and poultry inspection program. And because we don't have our own program, we rely on USDA services as a cooperative agreement. And it's very hard to get USDA inspectors. And there's a cost to do that. And there's a timing when you're dealing with meat to have the meat inspected. So this is another important bill that addresses both the issue we're trying to change, which is how do we deal with meat and poultry inspection, and then looks at funding to get us to a place where we can implement new programs. So I want to encourage you, again, to look at these bills. I do want to talk about another, which is a bill that was introduced by Representative Caruso, which seeks to increase the amount of agricultural purchased by various state departments and the University of Hawaii system. This is House Bill HB 247. We all talked about it, of course. There was work being done, and we were doing work trying to marry up different products from local manufacturers, as were the farmers, to marry up products that could be used in the school and university systems or could be used in the prison systems to feed the populations there. And there has been a movement to try and move forward with programs where they're doing that. Back in 2021, there was Act 176, which was to establish benchmarks to produce more locally grown food, and this measure proposes increasing those benchmarks on a scale by date. So we're very excited that we are moving up with the benchmarks and trying to get more local food produced each year. And that way we can buy more local food and work within various state departments in the university system to incorporate those local foods, and not only produce but also manufactured goods. So this is another important bill. This bill passed the first committee, the House Agricultural Committee, with amendments, and we'll move on to the House Finance Committee next. So these are just a few of the measures that we're working on. Sheryl and I discussed earlier, if you were listening to her first segment this morning about the qualified intern income tax credits, there's many different initiatives for industries or businesses who may not be currently connected with the Chamber. If there's bills impacting your business or your industry, and you would like the Chamber to ring in, or you're not sure if we are or aren't ringing in, please reach out to us. Send us a simple email at office@mauichamber.com. Just tell us the bill number and why you feel it's important, and we will be happy to get back to you and let you know whether we are tracking that bill and what the current status is, and learn more about how we can help you and how you can continue to get involved and share your message with others. So I've just got a text from Gary that Lorin Gaines, who is the senior estimator for Island Glass, has joined us. Island Glass Hawaii is Hawaii's premier commercial glazing contractor, serving all of the Hawaiian Islands since 1995. So I'm excited to hear and learn more about Island Glass Hawaii. So let me welcome Lorin to the show.
Thank you. You actually have Lorin and Rick, both with Island Glass.
Awesome. All right. And Rick, what do you do at Island Glass Hawaii?
Well, let's see. I started as a glazer when I was 6 years old, so I guess
wow.
I'm kind of the bringer.
I'm guessing it's a family business then.
Yes, it is. We're husband and wife for 40 years now.
How awesome is that? Well, I tell us a little bit about Island Glass Hawaii, and specifically, when I think of glass and then I hear glazing, I don't understand what that means. So tell us a little bit more about Island Glass Hawaii and what you mean by glazing.
Okay. Well, one of the big projects that we've recently completed is on your island called the Maui County Service Center. So when you go to that project, you see all the glass on the outside and the glass stair rails inside and all the entrance and door systems, aluminum and glass. That's the kind of stuff we do. That's a glazing contractor. So we've been doing this. My dad started the company in 1974 in Phoenix, Arizona. I bought that company from him in 1990. And then in 94, I bought Island Glass on Kauai. So we've been in the islands now since 1994. And we do a lot of large projects. We've done some very large hotel projects, did all the doors and windows in some fairly luxury ground ups over here. We've done a few larger projects on all the major islands. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So tell me about what glazing means. I just think of glass coming as a finished product. Do you add something to it? Do you add a different... What does a glaze on glass do, or is glazing just part of the process of the glass creation?
Glazing is a term, and the term, if you look it up in the dictionary, it says to fill the hole. In other words, if there's a hole in the building, put the glass in the hole. So it's part of a building envelope system, which basically keeps the weather out. And we've been doing this in Hawaii for a while, so we're very familiar with the proper ways to seal the windows. And we buy the systems from other manufacturers. Arcadia is one of them. We build the aluminum frames, we put the glass in, we seal them up, and we hand the keys over to the new owners.
Well, I love that. And like you said, proper ways to keep the weather out, to seal the windows and doors and keep the weather out. So you've been doing this.
That can be a little tricky in Hawaii, especially with this weather we've had the last week or two.
Yes. Have you been getting a lot of calls?
Not too much as it goes as related to the weather. Our job is to prevent those calls.
Yes.
We're basically a commercial glazing contractor, which means we run around and put window systems. We've done a lot of Wendy's there on Oahu. We're currently putting the new Target store in out at Windward Mall.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
So, that's kind of us in action out there.
But I see you also do residential services as well.
Yes, about 3 or 4 years ago, we kind of switched it up a little bit. We used to go out and fix broken windows in people's houses, and we've kind of switched gears, and we're doing more commercial systems. So we're basically looking to do hotels and restaurants, and when it comes to residential, we like to do residential projects that are putting all the windows in big custom homes and things like that. We've got quite a few clients on this island, which I'm not allowed to say any names, but we do big homes for people that you would probably recognize their names.
We also do, we work for the general contractors that are building the homes and renovating the homes, and we do custom shower enclosures, mirrors, skylight, handrails.
We do anything.
Tell us a little
but
bit about that,
because
everybody, I always love to pick up those different home magazines just to see what something special looks like. Tell us a little bit about some of those custom shower enclosures or some of the custom work you do, and do you do you also? I was recently watching a show, and my other half said, "Wow, look at that amazing shower that was also what do I want to say? Not sandblasted, but it was engraved."
Frosted, the frosted material. We've done some really custom showers that go floor to ceiling, sometimes 9-10 feet tall. Sometimes we'll do a whole glass wall in a house. One house we did over here, the shower ended up being about 20 feet wide and 8 feet tall, and they had custom leaves and patterns sandblasted into it, like vines, and it turned out beautifully.
And do you have some of those pictures on your website?
I don't think the picture of that one is on the website, but we do have a lot of the different stuff that we've done on the website.
Yeah, we are able to, if the customer has the artwork by a designer or by an artist, we can send it to our manufacturer, and they transfer the pattern onto the glass. And it was really interesting, that particular home, they had somebody draw up the pattern. It was a Japanese home, and each thing, the lotus had a particular meaning for the family, or, you know, one of the plants, or a bird, or each thing had some particular meaning for the family. So it wasn't just a pretty picture on the wall, or on the glass. It was actually an intentional design to bring out the story of the family. So that was really interesting.
We also stay on top of some of the newer technologies that are coming out, and they're now putting patterns on glass. They can make a piece of glass look exactly like a piece of marble, and you can put that in your shower walls. They can make it look like a wood grain pattern. They can do all kinds. If you can imagine what a piece of glass would look like if it were some type of other material, chances are we can have that turned into a piece of glass. Pretty exciting new technology that we're working with.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and suddenly the word etching came to me out. I couldn't pull that out of my head earlier.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that is what that one design, that was etching, a little bit of sandblasting because they went for 3D depth. But this new technology is actually printing on the glass. So they can use colors, they can use variations of colors. You know, computers have really pushed us forward.
So we could put a picture of your favorite dog right on your shower door.
Well, I don't know that I would. Not on the shower door. My favorite dog. We're a big dog family, but I'll have to talk to the family about that. Somewhere else, maybe. But that's exciting to know. I mean, you know, these are the things that I'm always fascinated by, which is some of the new technologies that are coming out where if you are building a home or renovating your home, you might not, if you don't know, you're not even going to ask for it.
Right. So that's one of the things we want to do is get this in front of some of the architects and designers, the interior designers.
And just one for instance, say you wanted a brick pattern on your backsplash all the way around your kitchen. You can have that printed on the glass and have the glass put there, and then that's a very cleanable. It's not only a cleanable surface, but it's something when people see it, they go, "How did you do that?" And that's the kind of stuff I like to do.
Oh, my goodness. That's phenomenal. I had no idea you folks did things like that. And to hear monster showers, of course, I would love a monster shower like that, 20 feet by 8 feet. Would thrill my soul.
I've probably seen in some magazines where they have a shower on one end and a soaking tub on the other, and it's all enclosed in glass.
Yes.
That's what it was. Or, you know, a double-sided shower head on each side, and so they need the long shower enclosure.
Yeah, a lot of people are using glass doors on water closets, meaning your toilet room would have a frosted glass door, lets light through, but keeps the privacy. A lot of different things that are done with glass these days that are very high end, and people really like to see that. And I've been doing this, like I said, since I was 6 years old. It actually says Glazer on my birth certificate. I was getting a pass to do a military project recently at Pearl Harbor. We did a welding school on the side of a nuclear submarine building facility, And in order to do that, I had to get a pass, and I'm sitting there with nothing to do. So I read my birth certificate. It said glazer. I'm like, well, how did they know I was going to be a glazer way back then? And my father's occupation was listed on my birth certificate, but I often tell people I've been doing it so long it says glazer on my birth certificate.
Wow.
Yeah, Island
Go ahead,
Glass
Lorin.
is a second and third generation. Our sons work for us, so it's a second and third generation glazing company.
And my grandson's always down here breaking glass. Papa, can I break some glass? I'm like, sure. There's a stack over there. Go to work.
I love it. I love it. So you're already instilling this now, not only in the third, but the third's already, and now you're creating a fourth generation.
Yes, we are.
That's amazing. Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad to hear it. Well, tell us a little bit about where people can find you and see more of your amazing work.
Well, right now we're based on Kauai, and we really got a good rain last night. Yay, thank God. Like Kauai needs the rain. So we're based on Kauai, and we do have a shop on Oahu. The shop on Oahu does not have a showroom, but we're doing a lot of work on Oahu. We've done a couple of bigger jobs on Maui, and we're really hoping to break into that market a little bit more. And as things progress, we're going to be putting a shop over on Maui. But as it is at this point, if we get a larger job, we just mobilize and go get it done. The Maui County Service Center took about 8 months to complete. And I don't know if you've been over there or not. It's a place you can now go for your driver's license.
Yeah, I haven't been lately, but clearly I need to go, and I'm going to go see the glass.
Yeah, when you walk through, there's a big picture window on the back. It's about 45 feet tall and about 60 feet wide. It looks at the mountains. That was kind of a challenging one, but that's where you'll see the curved glass handrails going up all around there. They did a lot of really nice glass stuff in that building, so it's kind of a showpiece for us.
Best way for people to get a hold of us is to go to our website. They can certainly call our office number, but the website also has contact page.
Okay, give us that URL.
Yes, it's islandglasshawaii, all spelled out, .com.
Lorin and Rick, it's been great to have you. I hope you can join us for Business on March 4th, because that would be a great way to connect you to the community. And folks, there we are again. That's all the time we have. Thank you, Lorin and Rick, for joining us. Pamela Tumpop with my Chamber of Commerce wishing you blessings and best wishes for a beautiful Maui day, and hope you join us next Tuesday. Aloha.